On this edition of Lexington Now, Imagine Nicholasville Road, Part 3 of Wildlife at McConnell Springs and rental and utility assistance. I'm Neil Noah and welcome to Lexington Now for the week of June 28, 2021. Last month, we brought you a story about the Imagine Nicholasville Road project. This week, we spoke with Kinsey Gleason and Chris Woodall to get a bit more detail on what it's about.
Imagine a Nicholasville Road that is safer and more enjoyable for everyone. Whether you're driving or walking, or riding a bicycle or the bus. Imagine a street with shade trees, sidewalks, and better crossings. One where running an errand on your bike doesn't feel dangerous, and a bus comes by often to take you to your destination. Our community has helped craft this vision as we reimagine Nicholasville Road together. And with your help, we'll help work to make this a reality. As our city grows and changes over time, adding more housing, more jobs, more people, we are experiencing the growing pains of more traffic congestion, as every thriving city does. But we find ourselves at a crossroads, where widening major corridors like Nicholasville Road is both difficult and expensive, and won't solve our congestion problems in the long term. Over the next 20 years, we want to guide our growth and our city's transportation investments to transform Nicholasville Road from a street that people avoid to a destination that people want to visit. Nicholasville Road is one of the city's main arteries, running from downtown Lexington to Jessamine County. It serves both local and commuter trips, connecting some of Lexington's top destinations from Fayette Mall to the UK campus, Central Baptist Hospital, and downtown. It crosses through rural, suburban, and urban settings. It carries as much traffic as many interstates and spans 10 lanes at its widest point. Recognizing this challenge, we engaged thousands of residents in public meetings, online surveys, and focus groups to discuss how we can both serve and work to reduce the growing demand for trips along the corridor. The resulting plan has three main emphasis areas: creating a more complete street, implementing high-quality bus rapid transit, and incentivizing walkable, transit-oriented development, or TOD.
Creating a more complete street means elevating the importance, quality, and safety of facilities for everyone, regardless of their travel mode. Complete streets have sidewalks, bike trails, transit shelters, and safe places to cross. They work to provide good traffic flow for cars and buses, but also discourage speeding, and they work to reduce vehicular conflict points in order to improve safety. One of the most exciting goals of the plan is implementing bus rapid transit, or BRT, which is a fast and convenient bus service, with buses arriving and departing from transit stations along the corridor as often as every 10 minutes. BRT on Nicholasville Road would include 14 stations from downtown to Brannon Crossing. The plan provides a roadmap and next steps for how we can achieve BRT service in the future, including the need for road improvements, operational plans, funding, additional community input, and support. Lastly, the plan looks at how we can guide private redevelopment along the corridor to be more compact, walkable, and transit-oriented. The plan uses 3 existing sites as examples to help people visualize this type of development along the corridor. The goal is to provide residential housing directly on the corridor so that it's convenient for people living there to make the most of their daily trips without a car, whether to a nearby job or for day-to-day goods and services. Centering walkable development around the transit stations also allows residents to conveniently reach other destinations throughout the city utilizing transit. These strategies help us address our need for more housing, including affordable housing, and to provide more transportation choices for navigating our city. We hope you will visit ImagineLexington.com to review the full plan, to learn how to stay involved, and how you can support this plan as we work to make this vision a reality.
Now it's time for part 3 of our continuing series, Wildlife at McConnell Springs. This week, Stephen Rogers talks about mammals.
So I think the one that stands out the most that most people get excited about when they see is going to be a white-tailed deer. And we're a small park, we're only 26 acres, and we're in a pretty urban area, so we're surrounded by industry, a neighborhood, but we still see deer almost on a daily basis. I've seen as many as 12 deer together before. We have babies that are born every year, so we have fawns every year that are born in the park, and we get to see the babies as they grow up. Typically, white-tailed deer have twins, so it's a survival instinct so that the stronger of the twins will have an opportunity to escape a predator. So since they don't have predators at McConnell Springs, fortunately, we have a pretty good deer population. They can move back and forth. They use the railroad tracks and just moving along other paths to make it to areas like Preston Springs, which is not very far away. So they've got a pretty good range that they can move and plenty of food source right here as well. We don't have that many predators. So in Kentucky, we don't have a lot of the large predators that we used to have pre-European settlement. So we don't have cougars in this area. We don't have wolves in this area anymore. We do have coyote and fox. So those are going to be the larger predators that you would find here. A fox is not going to be large enough to be a threat to a deer. It would have to be a very large fox and a very small deer. So a fawn could be potential prey for a fox, but that would be very unlikely. And the coyote is a similar situation. Coyote are larger than a fox, but they're still not as likely to take down a deer as a prey animal. So it can happen, and it's been recorded that coyote have taken down deer, but those are the only two larger predators that you're going to find in this area. If you move out into more rural areas and areas that are heavily wooded, you can find bobcat, and of course a bobcat could take down a small deer as a food source, but they're even going to hunt smaller animals like a raccoon or a possum. That's going to be more of their food source. So even though we've seen plenty of fox and plenty of coyote at McConnell Springs, they typically don't bother the deer population. They're usually after the squirrel, the rabbit, and even our groundhogs. We have baby fox born here at the park. It was really cool because the mother had chosen a den that was very close to the trail. It was an old groundhog den, and so she had the babies in that den and people could see them very closely. A baby fox is called a kit, so she had the kits right by the trail and people could see them. A lot of photographers got an opportunity to get some really cool pictures of the kits. The mother did move them a little bit further away after a couple of days, and we've seen the kits on camera and in person a few times since then. So we know that the fox still pass through. They just don't live here like they did for a couple of years. They stayed here for a while. It's really cool. We have a lot of groundhog. Our groundhog population did go down while the fox were here. So the fox kind of controlled the groundhog population for a couple of years, but the fox more or less just passed through now. I think I saw 5 groundhog together recently. So we had 1 large adult and 4 smaller. So they kind of have their areas throughout the park where you have different groups of groundhogs. Groundhogs are really interesting the way that they dig their tunnels. Their tunnels can go pretty far underneath the ground and spread out, and they actually set up rooms inside of their tunnels. So they'll have a room where they sleep, a room where they store food for the wintertime, a room where they raise their babies, a room where they can go to the bathroom if they have to, if they can't get out of their tunnel. And you can usually find multiple entrances and exits to their holes because they'll have a main entrance and exit that they go out of, and then they'll have something called a plunge hole. So if they're scared and they have to get away from a predator, they'll run, jump down that hole and get down in their tunnel for protection. Very few of their predators will follow them down into the tunnels except for like a fox, a smaller animal like that. So our squirrels, typically you do see them year round. Even in the wintertime when it's really cold, we have bird feeders that we put out constantly. So a lot of people at home have this experience too. The squirrels will come and take seed from their bird feeders. So we see squirrels year round. These are gray squirrels. We have a pretty good population here at McConnell Springs. We have a lot of trees that produce nuts like hickory nuts and black walnuts, so we have a pretty good food source for the squirrels. So even if they don't come right here to our feeders, they've got a great food source in the park. So we have a pretty good population. I wouldn't even venture a guess of how many we have in the park, but it's dozens for sure. For more information about the park that you may want to find about the wildlife, you can check out lexingtonky.gov and the McConnell Springs page. And then the Friends of McConnell Springs website has some really good, interesting information about the wildlife. And I would recommend people check out the McConnell Springs Flickr page. We have some beautiful shots on our Flickr page. So if you just search McConnell Springs Flickr, there's some beautiful shots of plants, wildlife, and even some of the events here at the park.
When we return, Thursday Night Live is back. Welcome back to Lexington Now. A popular downtown staple was put on hold last year due to the pandemic. But now Thursday Night Live is ready to entertain music fans of all kinds again. Here's Laura Farnsworth.
Thursday Night Live has been an absolute staple of downtown entertainment really since the mid-90s. We've been around over 25 years as part of downtown's fabric. It's a great opportunity for people to come together and network, meet, have fun, and really just help support the economy that is downtown Lexington, which is kind of everyone's backyard. Thursday Night Live was actually started following a Commerce Lexington leadership visit to Charleston, South Carolina, where business leaders went and saw that their downtown had this huge event, weekly concert series, and it was driving so many people and helping drive the economy, so that they brought that idea back to Lexington. And again, in the mid-90s, we started what we know today. Thursday Night Live has, of course, always been downtown, but more specifically, it's always been on this piece of land that is now known as Tandy Park. The park itself has transformed a lot over the years. In 2010, the Fifth Third Bank Pavilion was created, which gave shade and kind of a centralized gathering area to the park. It also sparked a lot of economic development in the area. You saw a lot of new businesses, bars, restaurants that really helped add into that festive atmosphere that we have come to expect out of Thursday Night Live each week. So of course, the COVID-19 pandemic affected nearly every aspect of everyone's lives, and Thursday Night Live was certainly not immune. We didn't get to produce a single night in 2020. And that was, of course, it was unfortunate for the businesses in the area, for the nonprofits and all the businesses that come together and produce this event. We are excited, though, as we emerge from the pandemic, that July 1st will be the first night of Central Bank Thursday Night Live for this season. We expect it to be bigger, better than ever. Everyone is going to be here. So we're really ready to celebrate again, to help the economy and the businesses down here again, and we're just thankful for the opportunity. We will start on July 1st with an Eagles cover band called Night Flyer. Great band, really top-notch performers, and a lot of good music to dance to. And we have a 15-week season this year. We will go through October 7th. We have everyone from the Johnson Brothers, which are classic rock. We have Honeychild, which is more, R&B. We really have music for for everybody. We've got country, we've got just all of the different genres coming together. We'll have a DJ performing before some of the bands some nights, and we're really just trying to bring the community together and give everyone a reason to come downtown and have a good one. So one of the great things about the Fifth Third Bank Pavilion at Tandy Park is that we are equipped for a rain or shine, hot or cold concert situation. So we've got big ass fans that'll keep you cool. We have a cover if it rains. We're really equipped for any situation, and rain or shine, we're going to be here. Live music, food, beverage, dance party, good time. For more information, you can check out the website for the Downtown Lexington Partnership. It's downtownlex.com. We also have very active Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts. You can link to all of that from our website, which again is downtownlex.com.
With the moratorium on evictions expiring, more people than ever are concerned about making their rent. There is help. We brought you a story recently about that program. Here's Charlie Lander.
In the bill that Congress passed in December, where everybody got their most recent stimulus check, also in that bill was an appropriation for emergency assistance for renters for rent and utilities. The beauty of this program is it doesn't just say, we'll pay your back rent up to $3,000 or up to $4,000, which is pretty typical with those kinds of programs. This program basically says, look, we'll pay all the rent you owe, back rent, going back 12 months. It'll also pay 3 months forward. So as long as you're eligible, it will pay your rent for 3 months forward to help keep you stable. The total benefit is 15 months. So you can do 12 back, 3 forward, or some combination, but you can't get more than 15. We also can pay utilities, utility arrearages, and we're still working through maybe a couple other types of expenses that we might be able to pay. The household income has to be at or below 80% of area median income. And we look at your past month of income and extrapolate that out to what an annual income level would be. So that would include not just active income, but unemployment, any other payments that are coming into the household, and then we calculate your annual. So what we'll find is there are people whose normal annual income would be well above that, but they've lost a job, they've been furloughed, they've had their hours cut. So we're looking at that past month to see what your current situation is. So that's important because I don't want someone to think I make too much, I'm not eligible, because it's about where are you today, not where were you before the pandemic. Also, you have to demonstrate that your household was economically impacted by COVID-19. So you're kind of going to demonstrate that as part of your application with your income, because you're going to have an unemployment letter, or if you're just using unemployment as part of your income. We're expecting to see some other interesting impacts, because it also could mean your expenses went up. Did you take in relatives, children who have to do school all day? Did you have unforeseen medical expenses because someone in the household contracted COVID? So these are all contributing factors that we have to document to make sure that the reason you didn't pay your rent was not just strictly economic, but it was also related to the pandemic. Visit the website www.covid19renterhelp.org. They will be able to read all about the program. Everything I've been talking about, it'll have the details on there, probably more details than I've been able to get into today. But more importantly, it has a link to the application. So you can click on the application, you can submit. It also has the program documents that you're going to have to fill out. So you can go ahead and download those and start filling them out, which includes, the things about documenting your income. There's a landlord-tenant agreement that your landlord is going to have to sign accepting the funds. So all those things are on the website as well. We have a prioritization process, because what we got to do is make sure if someone has an eviction scheduled for tomorrow that we get on that. So we triage that to sort of prioritize anything that has an immediate threat. And then we get those referred to our partner, Community Action Council, who's actually processing and paying the rent, processing the application and paying the rent. So if you apply, you're actually going to be contacted back by Community Action to submit to them your documentation for eligibility, and then they'll be the ones that pay the rent to your landlord. The goal is to keep people housed. We don't want anyone to get evicted. We don't want anyone to have to go through that. I mean, there is enough stress on families right now. There's enough going on throughout this pandemic, and I know for both landlords and renters this is difficult. Because landlords have mortgages to pay on their properties as well, and so it's a difficult time. It's frustrating for everyone. We ask folks to be patient. When you submit that application, it might be a few weeks before we can get to you to actually process it, just because of the sheer volume. We are receiving hundreds of these applications every week, in some cases hundreds a day. It sort of varies by day, and so it takes time. It takes time to triage that. It takes time to get to everyone. We are ramping up. We're adding staff. We're adding capacity every day. We're getting faster every day. So I just ask both renters and landlords to be patient, but make sure you apply. Make sure you never assume you're not eligible. It's worth a shot. Let's take a look at your file. Let's see if we can help you.
Many urban county government meetings are returning to in person, but many are still happening virtually. We bring most of these meetings to you live. Check out our website for the most accurate and up-to-date coverage of city business. And we continue to keep you up to date on how the city is handling the pandemic via our official COVID-19 response site, including testing and vaccination sites. Simply click on the banner at the top of our home page. That's all for now, but as always, you can keep up with us on social media. Check out the latest traffic updates on Twitter at LexRex, or catch our live traffic cams on LexingtonKY.gov. For all of us at Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.